After I arrived at Yokohama, Japan, I was sent to the Japanese West Point at Zama. The reason I was at Zama was because I was assigned to General MacArthur's staff as a chemical officer. And they were waiting to find a suitable assignment for a chemical officer. The chemical officer who was then resident in Japan was doing his job. So they were going to find an assignment for me as a chemical officer within the command of General MacArthur. So I had some time on my hands. They told me, until we determine just exactly what assignment you should have, you're free to visit as much of Japan as you wish. Well, in those days, I was a stamp collector. So I went into Tokyo. I went to the central post office. And of course, I didn't know Japanese at that point. I had some words written out in Japanese when I went to the post office. I wanted to get the latest set of Japanese stamps. I went up to the clerk and I handed him the little notice that I had written out with Japanese characters. And he said, I speak English. Oh, I said, very good. He said, maybe you can help me. He said, what is the word N-U-I-S-A-N-C-E? Oh, I said, that's nuisance. He said, you are a big nuisance, because I was asking for all those stamps. Well, I did get the stamps and I sent them home. So the next thing I wanted to do, because Japan has a very famous mountain, Fujiyama, I wanted to go out and visit Fujiyama. Well, to go out to Fujiyama, you had to go to the Tokyo station and you had to have a special pass. So I went to the station. I told them I'd like to have a train ticket to Fujiyama. Well, they said the train doesn't go to Fujiyama. It goes to a little town near Fujiyama. And I said, well, fine, give me a ticket to that town. And they said, well, where are your orders? Oh, I said, you know, I'm on General MacArthur's staff. Well, that was sufficient. They gave me a train ticket, and I got off at a town where they had a big outdoor statue of the Buddha. Well, seeing the big outdoor statue of the Buddha, I was told, you know, there's a much bigger statue of the Buddha at Nara. And I said, well, I'd like a ticket to Nara. Well, they didn't have a ticket to Nara. But they said, you know, there is a train that goes to Nara that comes by frequently. I went to the place where the train to Nara was located. Here comes the train. I didn't know how to stop it, so I got out and I flagged it down. And they were surprised to see me. I got on board. On board, there was a big sign. First, the big sign on the outside said, off limits to Allied personnel. Well, I thought, yeah, it's off limits to Allied personnel, but maybe they could make an exception in my case. I got on the train, and inside was a big notice saying, Allied personnel riding this train will not molest the conductor and will not pull the cord that would stop the train. Well, we finally arrived in Nara, and sure enough, in this large enclosed temple was the gigantic statue of the Buddha. After seeing the Buddha, I went back to Zama, waiting for my next assignment as a chemical officer under General MacArthur.